fight between Caleb Plant and Armando Resendiz is over. Here's how the pros reacted.
We all know who won the fight. We all know who won the fight. It's not even a question who won. Resendiz beat him from pillar to post. It's not a question who won. My thing is, what are they going to say? We need boxing to be the #1 sport in the world. It has to be a good product to do so. Look at the numbers. Look at the so let's see what the product. Look at the numbers. More total punches, more power punches, more just at a higher percentage and everything. A split decision. And no, yeah, I was about to say, bruh. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, bruh. When they said split decision, Resendiz was like, he knew he won. Still, he was just like, if they robbed me, whatever, I won, bruh. Like he would have, Pryor versus Arguello. He was, bruh. Let me tell you something. When I saw Charlo fight, what did I say? He probably beat Plant, man. Because of how Plant's been looking. And I was telling y'all he's going on the downslide. How Plant's been looking, bruh. I was like, he'll probably beat him.
Armando Resendiz just beat Caleb Plant, ladies and gentlemen. Split decision. Oh, no. 115, 113 Plant. $116, 112. Winner. Armando Resendiz, winner by split decision.
Reviewing the fight, Teddy Atlas had noted that Resendiz was a tough opponent. He highlighted that Caleb Plant had every chance to secure the win based on his boxing ability, ring IQ, and footwork. However, he also praised Resendiz, calling him a complicated, though somewhat one-dimensional fighter.
Resendiz, it's going to be a similar fight to Plant's last fight. Resendiz is a tough guy. He gets hit, but he's tough. He's been stopped. He's been knocked out once. But he squares up too much. He really does. I don't know, who the trainers are, but you can't have a guy just square up in front of you and not expect him to get hit. There's more target when you square up, bud. And not only that, you're more vulnerable to uppercuts. Plant has a good uppercut. I'm sure that part of his training camp was to use that, to set that up. He can definitely win on the outside, Plant, with his legs, boxing ability, his IQ, because Resendiz is pretty one-dimensional. Tough guy, I like him.
Furthermore, Teddy had seen the fight as a win for Caleb Plant if he stuck to boxing from the outside, noting that his uppercut was an exceptional tool against Resendiz. He emphasized that in his eyes, Plant was the superior fighter based on skill. However, he also pointed out that Caleb's tendency to let opponents get too close could open the door for danger from Resendiz.
Tough guy, he's 6 years younger too. But he'll come at him, he'll try to set up camp in close. He puts punches to the body and head, Resendiz, together well. He's a good offensive fighter. His problem is on the defensive side. That, again, as I said, he's predictable, he's one-dimensional, he squares up. You can hit him, and you can really catch him with uppercuts. I see Plant winning the fight on the outside, outboxing him, outmaneuvering him, giving him angles, keeping him off balance, because on the outside, I don't think Resendiz could beat him. But I do see Resendiz will get close at some point. Plant lets you get close at some point. He's a fighter too, Plant.
In favoring Caleb Plant, Atlas had noted that this fight had the potential to be both entertaining and intriguing. He emphasized that for Plant to take control and come out on top, he would need to capitalize on his uppercut, calling it a key weapon against Resendiz. Teddy was full of praise for the matchup, largely backing Plant due to his skill set.
And I think that the former champion Plant will be in a position where it'll wind up being a good fight. I think it'll wind up being a good fight where Resendiz will give everything he's got We'll get in close, go to, put those punches together. It'll get interesting. Will he get caught with a uppercut on the way in before he gets there and Plant has a chance to stop him? Maybe. I think it's going to be a good fight. I favor Plant for all the reasons I just said, but I think it'll be a nice fight. I think it'll be an entertaining fight.
Sharing his prediction, LaManna had already asserted that Caleb Plant would either score a stoppage or earn a shutout victory. He emphasized that size mattered in this matchup, and Plant was simply much bigger than Resendiz. LaManna also pointed to Plant's superior footwork, speed, and technical skills as key advantages, believing that Resendiz would struggle to close the distance or disrupt Plant's rhythm throughout the fight.
What is your prediction for Plant versus Resendiz?
Caleb Plant, late stoppage or shutout victory. Styles make fights. Bro, me and Resendiz are middleweights coming up fighting super middleweights. Like, that's whack. But, you know what I mean? So, like, size matters and skills pay the bills. Caleb's a good fighter, man. Caleb's a good fighter, so yeah.
Meanwhile, Jermall Charlo had stated that he was hoping for a Caleb Plant victory, explaining that it would bring him one step closer to making their long-awaited matchup a reality. He expressed a strong desire to settle unfinished business in the ring, and a win for Plant would clear the path for the two to finally face off.
Well, I hope Plant win the fight, and our fight is almost like a semifinal, so I hope we both get the dub so we can meet each other in the end.
Speaking on the matchup, Sean Zittel had raised concerns about the fight's matchmaking. He shared his views on Armando Resendiz, predicting that Armando would be outclassed by Caleb Plant, insisting that Caleb was far more skilled.
Who's been stopped by Elijah Garcia. Resendiz is a quintessential Mexican fighter.
Quintessential?
Yeah, like he reminds me of a little bit of Pedro Campa, who T.O. stopped a couple years ago. Pedro Campa, I wouldn't say he's even as good as like Oscar Duarte. I wouldn't put him on that tier of Mexican fighters. He's a tough, rugged, come forward, in shape, 26-year-old Mexican fighter who's he's gonna give it everything he's got. He should be outclassed by Caleb. Caleb's skill and level should just be too much for this kid.
Counter shot.
Yeah, but Caleb potentially could just have his way in there and do what he wants. He could even fight him on the inside like he did McCumbee,
Breaking it down, Sean suggested that Caleb would outbox Armando while staying on the inside. He asserted that this fight was more for entertainment, claiming Caleb took it to please the Mexican fans.
And outdo him there potentially, but I think it'd be fun if Caleb did that to make a statement, but it might not be smart, but it'd be fun to watch if Caleb's like, hey, I'm boxing Resendiz, he's zeroed off, but I'm gonna fight in the phone booth just to make a point to the Mexican fans, because he's got Mexican fans now from fighting Canelo and Benavidez. LaManna has the better chance at the upset.
Meanwhile, tensions between Caleb Plant and Armando Resendiz were running high. During a FaceTime exchange, they traded heated words over past sparring stories, each claiming he would come out victorious.
Armando knows me. He knows how good I am. We've sparred before, and we sparred a couple times, and he knows I'm the real deal.
I know that Caleb remembers me from those sparring sessions. I think he was about to fight Canelo Alvarez, and with faith in God, I know I have the tools that I need in order to overcome this challenge. On my own training camp that has been going great. My sparring sessions have also been really good. I feel really confident. So let's get it on.
I've had to go through a lot to get here, in the ring, out the ring. And when someone's in front of me trying to disrupt that, trying to mess that up for me, when I have big plans, I take that personal.
Caleb Plant was insistent that he had dominated Armando during their sparring sessions, claiming he was landing more punches and controlling the action. He said he was bringing that same energy into the fight, aiming to put Armando to sleep for good.
No, a lot of my past opponents, I feel, have really went out of their way to come at me, which I feel like that's kind of what you're speaking to. But I'm built for stuff like that. I wouldn't say that it bothers me. So again, Armando, he thinks he's going to beat me. That's enough right there to piss me off. So he knows who I am. He knows how I'm coming. Hey, Martin, can you tell him something for me? I know that if I hit him with the overhand right, like I hit him in sparring, that had him wobbling everywhere, the same one that I hit him with in sparring, if I hit him with that same overhand right with these 10-ounce gloves on,
No mucho, tampoco que decirle, pero...
On the other hand, Armando had accused Caleb Plant of misremembering what had happened during their sparring sessions. He claimed Plant had to be escorted out by security and emphasized that he was fully prepared to give his best and beat him in the fight.
There's no need to really have selective memory like that. I think you're misremembering a bit about what happened that week, because in the end they took me out of the gym for a reason, right? They ran me out of there because they remember what happened that week. But there's really no need to also like remember the sparring session so much, because I'm gonna put my best out there.
Moving on, Manny Robles had also expressed confidence leading up to the fight. He spoke about Armando's ongoing preparations with unwavering belief, stating that they hadn't left any stone unturned in training and that everything was moving forward with a winning mindset.
How do I feel about Resendiz? Great. I mean, we had a great camp. As everyone knows, you win your fights in the gym. We had a great camp, some great sparring, great work. We left no stone unturned, so now it's time to show that come Saturday night.
Manny acknowledged Caleb Plant as a tough opponent, but emphasized that they were following a strong game plan and focused on executing it with a different approach. He was adamant that Armando was fully equipped with the necessary tools to defeat Caleb Plant.
You have to bring in the proper sparring and try to come up with a good game plan to fight someone like Caleb. He's an experienced fighter, interim WBA world champion, former world champion at that. He's fought some of the best fighters in the division, so we give him his due credit. But I think Canelo. I think Toto has what it takes to pull the upset for sure.
Meanwhile, it was widely stated that this match originally stemmed from failed negotiations between Caleb Plant and Jermall Charlo. Speaking on the situation, Caleb Plant admitted he hadn't intended to fight anyone else at that time. However, after unsuccessful attempts to secure a tougher opponent, he ended up booking the fight with Armando, viewing it as a necessary step before eventually facing Charlo.
I did want to go right into the Charlo fight, but obviously he's been inactive for, a little bit, and he wanted to get active and get a tune-up fight or whatever you want to call it. And I felt like this was my fastest way to a big fight that I really wanted. At the time, Canelo and Skull were busy. Munguia was busy with Bruno. Edgar Berlanga don't want to fight, so, I can't force his hand. And so Munguia was busy, I think I said. So this was my fastest way to a big fight, so I did what I had to do.
Caleb Plant also shared his motivation leading up to the fight with Armando. He asserted that he was stepping into the ring with everything to lose. Reflecting on his journey, he spoke about fighting since the age of 9 and expressed a relentless drive to win, claiming he was fully prepared to walk through hell to get the victory.
I got everything to lose. Yeah, I got everything to lose. So there's a lot riding on this. I put a lot of work in. We've sacrificed a lot. I've been doing 32, and I've been organized competing since I was 9, 6 days a week. So I'm ready.
Furthermore, Armando noted that from watching Caleb's past fights, he appeared nearly invincible. When asked about his own strongest attributes as a fighter, he pointed to 2 key factors: his faith in God and his identity as a Mexican, emphasizing that Mexicans don't back down.
The main thing that I took away from those fights is the fact that he's not invincible. So that was the main takeaway from me about Plant against those opponents.
What are your best attributes? What do you do the best in the ring?
Bueno, ¿y cuáles son tus fortalezas? ¿Cuáles son las cosas que decís que pueden ser las que te dejan con el brazo en alto?
La fe en Dios y que soy mexicano. Eso no nos rajamos.
Look, there's 2 things. 1, I believe in God. 2, I'm Mexican.
Meanwhile, Caleb Plant was fully focused on securing victory. He had put all his past beefs on the back burner, emphasizing that his sole focus was the fight and his one goal, to have his hand raised at the end. He made it clear that any talk about personal rivalries would be addressed only after defeating Armando.
Right now, all that's on the back burner for me. I'm just focused on Saturday. Can only fight one fight at a time, and that fight don't happen without getting my hand raised in this one. So right now I'm locked in on that. I put everything else on the back burner, and then once I get my hand raised, May 31st is Saturday, we'll have plenty of time to talk about it. I'll have plenty of time to, you know, think on all that. But right now, I'm focused.
And that wraps up the showdown between Armando Resendiz and Caleb Plant. The fight is officially in the books, and the boxing world has plenty to talk about. Whether you saw it coming or were caught by surprise, one thing's for sure: it delivered. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the fight, who impressed you most, and what you think is next for both fighters. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more post-fight breakdowns and boxing content. See you in the next one.